And I guess we're live. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back, dear viewers, to a live racism special. It's Ali again with you. Today, inshallah, members of the Sunni Defense team are going to give their take on Kalam from TITANS TV's reaction to our video on racism in Shiism. With us on the panel today is Abbas, aka Shia critic, aka Roman Arab, aka probably something else in a couple of weeks from now. The guy really can't make up his mind. Abbas.
MashaAllah, beautiful intro. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. That's all I've got. Like, I'm out of jokes. I don't have anything for the other two. And also with us is a return of our beloved brother Hassan Shamrani.
Yeah, you're still on mute, Hassan.
Yeah, you got to unmute your mic, mate.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
And last but not least, Farid.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, guys. Hope you guys are doing well.
So, after watching the video on TITANS TV, it's clear that Kalam did not even understand the point of our video, which is that Shias have attributed racist narrations to the family of the Prophet. Kalam spent an hour and a half ridiculously accusing us of slandering the family of the Prophet and making irrelevant points, mainly about members of the Ahlul Bayt being black. He accused us of lying, being disingenuous, and mistranslating things. And then he went on to lie, was disingenuous, and did not provide translations for things. Nice one, Kalam. He was not objective, brushing under the carpet the racist but authentic Shia narrations, failing to analyze our claims in any way, just because his friends from Bayat Al Ghadeer are Shia. Kalam admitted just coming from their house and that their mum made him food. Here at the Sunni Defense, we would not put out such a video on such a sensitive topic without being able to back it up. And that's exactly what we plan on doing today. We'll start with Abbas. Go for it, bro.
All right. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah, wa man istanna bi sunnati ila yawm ad-din, amma ba'd. So, as you guys may have seen, we released a video a few days ago showing the racism in the Shia hadith texts. And we quoted 3 reports that contained some pretty racist content. Now, as beautifully presented by Ali, Kalam essentially went on an hour-long rant where he attempted to disprove our claims. Now, he also brought one point up, and I'm going to bring this up because it's fundamental to the whole topic. He said, I don't want to bring up what's in your books, you Sunnis, the racist texts in your books. And you guys don't have the authority to talk about racism and Shiism text. Well, I'll say this. What will you say, Ali?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, okay. I heard a voice. No problem. So, in our books, we don't have authentic reports to an infallible person, to the Prophet, with any racist content. Everything is weak, and our scholars have destroyed it. However, you guys, you have authentic reports to your imams who are infallible with texts and sayings that are clearly racist, and your scholars consider it authentic. Now, yes, I'm going to admit we do have some scholars, some of our later scholars, who did say some things that could be racist. Such Imam Malik said something, and what happened? Ibn Hazm responded to him, and he said that this is not fair for you to say that, regarding a certain race or a certain group of people. And they're all scholars, they're all fallible, we admit it. We have no problem saying they were wrong and rejecting what they said. We don't have infallible beings in our madhab or in our religion saying racist stuff. And so that's where the problem lies. So if he's going to quote me Ibn Khaldun or Imam Malik or any other scholar saying something racist, I have no problem with that. I'll say they're wrong. But you can't say your imams are wrong. They're infallible in your religion. So that's, a brief intro to the issue. Now, I'm going to dive deep into the actual discussion. So he essentially, the first report is a report in Al-Kafi. I'm actually just going to play Kalam's video to show you guys what's going on. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. Just trying to shoot.
But as I'm just saying, I'm going to be back in 2 minutes, yeah? When
Sure.
inshallah, I'm going to be back.
No problem. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Bismillah. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna play this video.
Nicht. The first report he quotes in this chapter is a quote of Abdullah عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال قال أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام إياكم ونكاح
Oh, sorry, the speed is a bit too high. Didn't change that.
الزنج فإنه خلق مشوه. So they supposedly quote Ja'far al-Sadiq rahimahullah, supposedly quoting Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu.
Okay, so Jafar quoting Ali. Okay, let's see what else to say. Let's see.
Saying, beware from marrying from the blacks.
Beware from marrying from the blacks. This is what you messed up again. You are actually a native Arab speaker, yeah, and you keep messing up. Like me, yeah, yeah. I'm not even a native Arabic speaking person. I'm not, but I know the difference. I can read Arabic. At least I can read Arabic. At least I can understand Arabic. Shaway. You know the way it's there. So I could just tell straight from the back you're just chatting shit. How?
Okay, as you can see, he knows Arabic shway. And so he essentially claiming that I'm distorting the report. Now, he missed something fundamental in the video, and I highlighted it for like a clear reason. He just skipped over the chapter heading. Okay? So when you're reading a hadith book that's compiled in the 4th century, it's essential to see what chapter the hadith is placed under to get an idea of what the author or how the author understood the report. And so I clearly mentioned the title while I was reading the hadith. I said, Babu man kuriha munakahatuhu min al-akradi was-Sudani wa ghayrihim. This is the chapter placed by Al-Kulayni. This is also the chapter placed by Al-Majlisi in his book Mir'at al-Uqul. It translates to those from whom marriage is discouraged, such as the Kurds, akrad. That's not a mistranslation. Was Sudan. What is Sudan in Arabic? Any Arabs in here in the house? Farid? You're on mute.
All right, sorry, my bad. Sudan means black people. It's referring to black people.
Allah ya'tik al-afiyah, beautiful. So I actually, if they're not going to believe us, I went to Lane's Lexicon, authoritative dictionary. So he says aswad, which literally means black in Arabic. So that's the word Sudan is derived from. He said black, having sawad, which means having blackness. And so he says, and I quote him over here, a Sudan is said to denote Negroes. This is the language he used. Okay, so we've established that the hadith is included under a chapter that says marrying blacks in general is prohibited. So that's the context where I'm coming from. Okay, and then I read the report. عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام قال قال أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام إياكم ونكاح الزنج فإنه خلق مشوه. And I clearly said, by the way, if you go back to the video, they're allegedly quoting Ja'far. And that's going to become relevant, inshallah, in the future, because he accused me of slandering Ali and Ja'far. So Ali is supposedly saying, beware from marrying from the Zinj, for they are distorted creation. And I translated Zinj as blacks. And he's saying that this is not accurate. However, again...
If you don't mind.
Sure.
Abul Abbas, for the... can you see it? You can see the screenshot, right?
Yeah,
what I'm
beautiful
sharing right now.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So you can see in the top left corner, this is a Kitab al-Kafi, English translation, Muhammad Sarwar. It's again, it's an English translation translated by a Shi'i translator, and this is the text. This is the chapter. He says marriage with Kurds in Sudan. However, of course, he removed the word discouragement of the marriage of Kurds with Sudan.
Yeah.
And this is the report. Ali has narrated from, Ali is of course, I believe it's Ali bin Ibrahim al-Qummi, from Harun bin Muslim, from Mas'ad bin Ziyad, who has said the following. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, who's Ja'far al-Sadiq, has said that Amir al-Mu'minin has said guard against marriage with the people of Zinj because it is a distortion. So he translated everything here except for the word Zinj. And I'm sure you guys are going to get into that.
Yeah, so they left Sudan untranslated as well. So I went to a Zinj. I went to Lane's lexicon, so he doesn't say I'm making this stuff up. Okay. So to give him, to be fair, Lane says a Zinj can mean, it can mean a certain nation of the blacks, a specific group from within the black race. What does he say after that? Sometimes applied to the Negroes, absolutely. And so essentially, Lane says the word can be used to represent all the black race. Okay, so coming from my context, I see the title. It says "Bab man kuriha munakahatuhu min al-akradi was Sudan, black race." And then the report immediately after it is about the Zinj. I think we have, good reasons to assert that this hadith is referring to the black race and not Zinj, and that's the definition that is being used in this case. Just so that they don't, bring this up again. And I've heard that they've claimed that Al-Kafi or Al-Kulaini and Al-Kafi did not write this title. It's someone else. Well, first of all, I've seen numerous scholars from the Shia assert that the titles are from Al-Kulaini, such as Al-Majlisi. He often cites Al-Kulaini's chapter headings as evidences that indicate the understanding of Al-Kulaini of the hadith. But nevertheless, Majlisi uses the same chapter. He has the same chapter, Bab man kuriha munakahatu min al-Akradi was Sudan. This is in Mir'at al-Uqul, and he declares the report to be sahih. Now,
Majlisi is Khatim al-Muhaddithin. He's the seal of the Muhaddithin.
He's one of their greatest muhaddithin, as Hassan said.
Out of this, I don't know, akhi.
And then, here's what's problematic, akhi. Now, okay, for the sake of argument, I'm going to tell Kalam, you know what, Kalam, you're right. And Zinj is only a specific group of blacks. Does that really make it any better? I mean, as you've seen in the screen Farid shared, he calls this group of people a distorted creature. He's referring to their physical characteristics. And that's what Al-Majlisi says in Mir'at al-Uqul. He says, وَفِي مِصْبَاحِ اللُّغَةِ الشَّوْهِ قُبْحُ الْخِلْقَةِ. Essentially saying they're ugly. That's what Ali Abi Talib said. He said this group of people, whether it be the black race as a whole, which we still assert is the proper, explanation of the hadith, or whether he's referring to a small, group of black people that were within, the black race, it would still be a pretty racist thing to say. Now, Shias often try to explain this, saying, no, Ali ibn Abi Talib was referring to a group of disbelievers who were from the Zinj, who had, bad character. Well, if that's the case, then he should have described their, bad actions, their bad behavior. He's describing their physical characteristics, and they didn't create themselves. Allah created them. So I think that tackles that aspect of the report. So it's clearly a racist report, no doubts about that. Okay, we can move on. So with this report being taken in mind, let's see how the major Shia jurists understood it. Because, okay, I'm a nobody, apparently, and he knows Arabic shway, so he can dismiss my interpretation of the hadith. Let's go to some bigger Shia scholars. Al-Tusi. Who is Al-Tusi? Tusi is their Shaykh al-Ta'ifa. He's one of their biggest scholars. He's author of two of their major hadith books, Tahdhib al-Ahkam and al-Istibsar. And he actually transmits some of these reports in his book, Tahdhib al-Ahkam. So he's not an idiot. He has a book on fiqh called An-Nihaya. And you guys can see my screen, right?
It's clear, bro. Keep going.
Cool. Just making sure. Okay. So, as you can see, what does Al-Tusi say? Al-Tusi says, ويكره نكاح جميع السودان من الزنج وغيرهم إلا النوبة خاصة ويكره التزويج بالأكراد. Al-Tusi says, and marriage from all of Sudan, all the blacks, is discouraged, is makruh, is hated. From the Zinj and the rest of them, من الزنج وغيرهم إلا النوبة خاصة, except from the Nuba. So they've excluded this tiny region in Africa, from the general discouragement of marriage from the blacks. And then he says, and marriage from the Kurds is discouraged. So,
Hassan, you're muted, akhi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, sorry to jump into your words, Brother Abul Abbas. Inshallah, their viewers, brothers and sisters, Shia, Sunnis, non-Muslims, you shall find out in a few minutes why. Why do Shia hadith attack all black people? And like the racist type of people who are racist, but they have some mercy towards an ethnic group. You see it in Europe, for example. Now it's Muslim bashing is number one. They have some mercy towards black people now, or Jews. You shall see in a few minutes, what is it about Nubians? You shall see why Rafida racist narrations are anti-black, except with a small exception, a selfish exception. You shall see, inshallah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Very important reports that you just mentioned.
Indeed. Okay, so I went to another fiqh book. Okay, so let's say they're going to say, oh, Tusi is making this stuff up. It's not a Tusi, it's not the Shia position. I'm like, okay, let's go to another fiqh book. This is Al-Muhadhab by Al-Qadi ibn al-Barraj al-Farawilsi, one of their major jurists. What does he say on the chapter on marriage? He says, وَيُكْرَهُ التَّزْوِيجُ بِالسُّودَانِ مِنَ الزِّنْجِ وَغَيْرِهِمْ إِلَّا النُّوبَةِ. So he says the same thing as a Tusi. He says marriage from all of Sudan is discouraged, including the Zinj and the other groups within the black race, except a Nuba. And then he says, وَيُكْرَهُ التَّزْوِيجُ بِالْأَكْرَادِ وَكَذَلِكَ التَّزْوِيجُ بِالْمَجْنُونَ. So it's also discouraged to get married from the Kurds and from crazy women. Yani, I don't understand how you can take a whole race and make it equivalent to a crazy woman in the same sentence. But subhanAllah, it's not surprising coming from their text. Okay, they're going to dismiss Al-Qadi ibn Barraj. Let's go to another text. Hopefully this will work. Yes, it worked, alhamdulillah. So this is another famous fiqh text they have. It's called Isbah al-Shia bi-Misbah al-Sharia by one of their major 6th century jurists called Qutb al-Din Muhammad ibn al-Husayn al-Kaydari. What does he say on in the chapter about marriage? Kitab al-Nikah. He says, وَيُكْرَهُ التَّزْوِيجُ بِالْأَكْرَادِ وَالسُّودَانِ إِلَّا النُّوبَةَ وَالْمَجْنُونَ. So it is discouraged to get married from the Kurds, from the Sudan, from the blacks, except the Nubians. And it's also discouraged to get married from crazy women. Okay, so this is what another jurist has to say. Okay, let's see over here. Bismillah. All right, so this is another text, Al-Adab al-Diniya للخزانة المعينية by Abu Ali al-Fadl ibn al-Hassan al-Tabrasi, one of their major jurists as well. He says, واجتنب العقيم من النساء وإن كانت حسناء جميلة المنظر واختر الولود وإن كانت شوهاء قبيحة المنظر ومناكحة السودان مكروهة إلا النوبية خاصة. So he says, he's saying avoid marrying women that are beautiful but cannot bear offspring, and marry a woman that is not as beautiful but can bear more offspring. And then he says, and marriage...
Abbas, sorry to interrupt you. Some guys, if you could zoom in a little, just so it's a bit bigger.
على عيني وراسي. Okay, I got it. He says, ومناكحة السودان مكروهة إلا النوبية خاصة. So marriage from the Sudan, from the black race as a whole, is discouraged, except a Nubian woman. Okay, so these are like 4 Shia jurists corroborating the same understanding of this hadith. So when I say that there is a discouragement from marrying from the blacks, I'm not wrong. I'm merely quoting your scholarship and your hadiths and your scholarship's understanding of that hadith. Okay, let's move on to another text. So with all that taken into context, here is one of their major fiqhi texts called Jawahir al-Kalam. He says, وكذا يكره نكاح الزنج قال أمير المؤمنين إياكم ونكاح الزنج فإنه خلق مشوه. So he says, and marriage from the Zinj is discouraged. Ali ibn Abi Talib said, and he quotes the same hadith I quoted earlier, beware from marrying from the blacks, and I will translate it as blacks. Beware from marrying from the blacks, for they are distorted creation. Okay, and then he quotes another report by الصادق. قال الصادق لا تناكح الزنج والخزر فإن لهم أرحاما تدل على غير الوفاء.
Zoom in a little bit.
Sure, I got you.
If you guys don't mind, I'd like to hear Hassan's thoughts on the term Zinj, because we've been discussing this, in private, and he had a lot of interesting things to say, stuff I've been hearing for the first time, and I'm quite curious, to be honest.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah alladhi nasara as-sunnah bi ahli as-sunnah was-salatu was-salam ala al-Mustafa wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It wasn't actually planned for me to come. The brothers pushed me a bit, encouraged me. They said, you know, some stuff about this. I'm not a historian, but I'm very much interested due to I have East African family. I have Yemeni East African family, and I have read a lot about the region of East Africa, and particular where the region of Habasha, modern day Ethiopia, and Somalia, and Tanzania, and Kenya. So, and I have also prepared to, I wanted to comment on two things that this Kalam Miskin said, but as Farid now asked something specific, I will get to that later. About Farid just asked about, you asked about Zinj, isn't it? Correct?
Right.
Yeah. So listen, brothers and sisters, my voice is clear, yeah?
Yeah, bro, you're good. You're good.
Crystal.
Okay. As you can, maybe some of you, the word Zinj, yeah, it's Zinj is actually is yes, today it's in Mu'arrab, is an Arab word which in asl is from Persian. It's actually Zang, Zangibar. Zangibar is in, now if some of these Masakin Rafida listen, they probably say, but Zang doesn't mean black in Persian, Sia means black. This, we are speaking today modern day Farsi. Zang is, as far as I know,
Yeah.
in any case,
Yeah.
it means.
We lost you for a second there, Hassan.
No?
We lost you for a second there.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah. Okay. He'll be back, inshallah. I just wanted to point out one thing in regards to the term Zinj. When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Sabda movies, and every time the N word was used in the subtitles, it would say something like Zinji.
You hear me? Yeah.
So
Same here.
yeah. So
Hello?
according, Hala Hassan, we can hear you, man. I'm just pointing.
Sorry.
I'm just pointing out that the term Zinj today,
Continue.
and even Hala, bro, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can I continue, please?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Hassan, Farid, finish your point, mate. Hassan, let Farid finish his point. He's making an interesting point here. It's a short.
I don't know. I just came. I don't know.
All right, I was just saying, Hassan, that today, as a modern Arab, when I used to watch a lot of movies that had subs in the past, and whenever the N word was used in the subtitles, the term Zinji was used. It's not referring to a specific group of black people. It's referring to black people in general.
It's correct.
So
it's
that's
correct.
just something I want to point out.
Racism is.
So please do continue.
Hassan, continue, bro.
Zanj in asl, in its origin, is Zang. And Zangibar, is the Black Coast. It means literally Black Coast. And subhanAllah, Zangibar, if you look up, and they can look up Wikipedia wherever they want to do, and whatever I say, as I said, I studied this, but if anybody doubts what I say, he can do his research. He or she can do his research. Zangibar is a semi-autonomous region in Tanzania. It's in fact an island, a number of islands. And this Swahili culture, and subhanAllah, many people who don't know, probably even this Kemet Masakin don't know, some of the extremists who boast so much about this culture, but they don't know much about it, except, this supremacy, this evil supremacy. Swahili culture, Swahili comes from Sawahil. Sawahil in Arabic is the plural of Sahil, which means coast. So Swahili means, Swahili language is the coastal language. Why is that? This is because if you look it up in the map, look up where Zanzibar is. Zanzibar, the land of the Zanj. If you look it up, it is in East Africa, but more south in East Africa, right? Sub-Saharan. If you look it up, it is an island, and where a culture was created, which is called Swahili culture, the Zanzibar culture, the Zanzibar culture. Why is that? Because strategically where it's located, Persians and Arabs, and as far as I know, even Malaysians and many other nations interacted with the people there, with the local people there. So a new culture was created, a new language, because the people of Tanzania and the people of Kenya and most people south of what is modern day Somalia are Bantu people. Now, what are Bantu people? Bantu people are more than, some experts say, between 300 or 600 tribes in Africa. The majority of black African people inside Africa are Bantu people, a beautiful people, the majority people of Africa. They have Muslims, they have Christians, they have some other religions. The point is they are the majority. And the Zinj people in Arabic, are originally a Bantu people. The whole region there is Bantu. Even today, for example, in Kenya, and in Kenya, which has a Somali minority, or in Tanzania, the vast majority of people are Christian and they're Bantu. The only people who are pretty much mixed to an extent with Bantu Zinj people are the people of the coast, the Swahili people. And I have friends, Swahili people, mixed. They are mixed of Yemeni, Persian, Bantu, everything. It's very normal. They are either from Kenya or from Tanzania. So look, Abul Abbas, now in defense of Abul Abbas and this miskin Kalam who, you can hear me, guys, yeah? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you.
Myself, okay. Now, in defense of Brother Abul Abbas and support what he said, he translated Zinj as blacks, correct? Now, this miskin, what is his name? This Kalam, who you can tell he's just fed. Said Ali and these other people fed him with some sources, things that he can't, in any shape or form, even pronounce, in huge blunders and mistakes he made. And then he said, yeah, how can you say Zinj black? It is not incorrect, because historically, yes, Zinj is a specific region, and I've just explained even where it's located, and you can look it up on the map. However, in a later stage, till today, and Farid gave the example that unfortunately in some racist environment, even in the Arab world, and the non-Arab world as well, probably, after all, it's a Persian word, Zinj is still used for all blacks. Zinj. So it's not wrong to translate it with black people. It is not wrong. And now I wanted to make a very important point, because Abul Abbas mentioned now a number of times narrations and statements from the fuqaha, from the jurists, correct? Where they said, yes, don't marry the Sudan. By the way, you brothers haven't explained it. Nobody should get confused with the word Sudan of modern day. Sudan is a modern day nation. However, yes, Sudan literally means the land of the blacks, So he mentioned a number of narrations. He mentioned the narration that with the chapter in Al-Kafi. This is also from their own, this is another, I have here translation from one of their own books, whom the Imam disliked for marriage amongst the Kurdish, Negroes, and others. That's not my translation, it's from them. Narrated, Ali bin Ibrahim, from Harun bin Muslim, from Mas'ad ibn Ziyad, from Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, that Amir al-Mu'mineen, yani Ali bin Abi Talib said, beware of marrying the Negroes, Zinj. This is how they translated it. For they are a distorted creation. Al-Kafi and his Furu'. Furu'. Here, another important point, brothers and sisters. Is it not, the Arabs have a saying, and translated for you in English. They say, the aqil understands with a ishara. The person of intellect understands if you just hint to something. If these people are people of intellect, and if this Kalam was a person of intellect, shouldn't he be already suspicious by realizing that in the most revered, important, and sahih, and some of the scholars in the past and some in the present believe that all of it is authentic, and some of them believe it's not. Doesn't matter. It's the most revered book. There are anti-black and Kurdish and Asian, Sindhi, and so on hadith. Chapter, something you never find in Bukhari, you will never find in the main Sunni books of hadith. In secondary books of Sunni hadith, you find fabricated, extremely weak, blasted by Sunni scholarship, like the Salafi scholar Imam al-Albani. He didn't say these narrations. For example, there are similar narrations about anti-black narrations. Imam al-Albani commented on it and said, ضعيف جدا. Other scholars have declared them as mawdu', as fabricated. This is the stance of Ahl Sunnah. So anyway, I've just read for you this hadith from Al-Kafi with the chapter name, Book of Nikah, chapter whom the Imam disliked from marriage amongst the Kurdish, Negroes, and others. Volume 5, page 352. This is not my translation, it's from them. Here is now important. I don't want to prolong it too much. Here is now important that why was it correct for Abu Abbas to translate it as Zinj, as black in general? You know why? This is because in Shiism, what they have attributed to the Imams, yes, attributed. This miskin Kalam doesn't need to play for us a new Radut. He doesn't need to give us a new Latmiya cry for us and say, oh, they attack Ali bin Abi Talib. How can they attack Ahlul Bayt? You know? Hello? My voice is there, yeah?
Yeah. Don't worry.
Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, every aqil has understood it. The video was not to attack Ahlul Bayt. The video was not made to say to the people Ahlul Bayt are racist. A'udhu billah, hasha. The whole point was to say that besides the kufr and shirk and zandaqa of Shiism, which is known for, these are the hallmarks of Shiism, here you have this as well. In the most authentic books of hadith, you have entire chapters that are racist. Forget about what is in it. Entire chapters. And then they bring this miskin who openly says their mother gave me food, and they walk around in their local estate at night and call themselves, we are proud kuffar. They think this is fun, you know. There's things you don't make joke in the religion. You don't go around and say, I'm a kafir, yeah, Wahhabis call me kafir. We are all kuffar united here. Indeed, all Zanadiq are united. The reason, brothers and sisters, why Abu Abbas was right is now this narration. In the same Al-Kafi, in the same chapter, please pay attention. Narrated by Ali bin Ibrahim, from Ismail ibn Muhammad al-Makki, from Ali ibn al-Hussein, from Amr ibn Uthman, from Al-Hussein ibn Khalid, from whom, again, is from their own translation, from whom he mentioned from Abu Arabi' al-Shami, who said, Abu Abdullah alayhi salam said to me, do not buy anyone who is a Negro. This is from their own translation. In the original Arabic, it's Sudan. But if you must, then buy the Nubians, for they are amongst those whom Allah, the Exalted, said about them, and the Quran, from those two who called themselves Christians, we did take a covenant, but they forgot a good part of the message that was sent to them. Surely a time will come when they will be remember that portion, and when the Qa'im alayhi salam, the Mahdi arrives, a group of them will come to his support, but never marry anyone of the Kurdish. Anyone, ahadan, he says, for they are part of the jinn, demons, whom the screen was lifted from them. Anyone, ahadan, from the Kurdish. So look, Kurdish, anti-black. So now people might say, so what, Shimrani? Look, the Imam is here. Yeah, he says marry Nubians, but Nubians are black. So alhamdulillah, our Imams were pro-black. No. It doesn't work like this.
Hassan, if you don't mind, Hassan, I just wanted to share the screen of the translation in English, just because they're going to doubt you, man. They're going to say Hassan is lying about this the same way.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, show it if you have it.
Video. Yeah, it's right here. It's the second hadith number 9490. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, who's Ja'far al-Sadiq, once said to me, me is Abu Rabi' al-Shami, you must not buy anyone from Sudan.
Yeah.
You must not buy. This is okay. Buy from Nawba. So it's as you've said.
Allah bless you. Allah bless you. So now, brothers and sisters, what is Nubians? What are Nubians, Nuba? Who are the Nubians? Brothers and sisters, again, everything I say, Aslan doubt it. The Shias anyway, doubt it. Go and look it up. Nubian people are native people of the Nile, of southern Egypt and northern Africa. They are one of the most ancient black-skinned people in the world. However, and what I'm saying is a scientific fact, they are not a Bantu people. The majority of African people are Bantu people. Beautiful people. Doesn't matter what religion they have. They are beautiful people like every human other being. Allah created all human beings beautiful. All ethnicities have their beauty. However, the Nubians, that the Imam in the hadith made an exception. He said, do not marry the blacks, except the Nubians. Now, guess who the Nubians are? Nubians are a black-skinned people with predominantly Caucasian features. I don't like this term Caucasian, but this is how it's mostly used, and everybody knows what I mean with Caucasian features, i.e. they have non-Bantu features, like most rest of them. And other nations in East Africa are similar to them. If you look at the Habasha, the Amharic people of Ethiopia, the Tigray people of Eritrea, the Somali people, they are distinct. I'm not saying they're not. They're Africans, they're black people, they're beautiful people. All people of Africa are beautiful. I'm just talking facts. They are distinct physically, especially facial features. They have very much Caucasian features, and they look quite similar to Arabs. Same with the Nubians. Even if you look the Nubians up today, and there's no excuse that they're mixed with Arabs. No. They are very ancient people. They're in Southern, and historians say that for a while they even ruled Egypt. So it's even correct that Egypt was for a while ruled by black-skinned people. That's why there's black pharaohs and so on. That comes from there. But the misconception is they were not Bantu people. These funny Kemets, these Juhal who attribute themselves to Egypt, most of them are of West African descent. There's the Sahara between them. The black Egyptians were Nubian people. Nubian people are today the majority of people of northern Sudan and southern Egypt. And you can look them up how they look like. So isn't it interesting, brothers and sisters, Farid, Abul Abbas, Ali, everybody who's watching, isn't it interesting that in this most authentic Shia hadith, in the most authentic book, and the way the scholars understood it, no Kurds whatsoever should be married, and they're demons. And then this Hassan Qadri comes with some excuse that that doesn't mean in the literal sense. Leave that. We will get maybe to the Kurds for another time to explain to our beautiful brothers and sisters of Kurdish origin how racist Shiism is against them. But as for the blacks, isn't it interesting that the hadith makes it clear, do not marry any of these suits, any of these black people, except the Nubians. And the Nubians are a people who are a people from the Nile, who are very similar to Habasha, Ethiopian, and other East African people who have Caucasian features, i.e. are not typically what we today understand as typically black with Bantu features.
Hassan.
And just one more thing. And now guess how many of the Imams, because they go around, I saw in the comment sections, how can these Wahhabis, Salafis, how can they accuse us of being racist when our Imams, alayhum as-salam, when our Imams, alayhum as-salam, many of our Imams married black people. Yeah, miskeen, you don't know your own religion. You don't know your own religion. You just pick up, and let alone this Kemet guy who just parrots what they feed him. First of all, not all, let alone many of the Imams had black mothers. 2 at best. Some say 3, but it's 2. Raza is said to have a Nubian, you see, not a Bantu, not the original people of Zinj. Remember, the Imam said, do not marry any from them, only marry Nubians. And Nubians are southern Egyptians and northern Sudanese. They are these more light-skinned and with European features. So the Imams didn't like the so-called proper black features, what some may say. I'm not saying that, but you can tell the racism in the narration. Why? Because the Imams made an exception for a black-skinned people who very much look similar to Arabs and are slightly lighter skinned, like the Nubians, who look like the Habasha or similar to the Habasha and to the Somali people and so on. So only 2 of the Imams, Raza is said to have had a Nubian mother. And it's not even clear. Some of the narrations say his mother was actually Berber, Moroccan origin, or from Maria Qibtiyya. And same for Al-Jawad. Al-Jawad, I don't know if there's 100% ikhtilaf, but let's say Jawad was 100% black, his mother. But even his mother is said that she was Nubian. So they don't have many Imams that were from black mothers. he also, maybe Farid's going to correct this Kemet guy who said that Ali bin Abi Talib, or I don't know if brother Abul Abbas already has.
I have a response, inshallah, ready for that whenever you're ready.
That's for me for now. I have 2 more responses to attacks that this Kemet guy made directly against Ahl Sunnah. You see, subhanAllah, the guy's not even Muslim, but look at the hiqat. Brothers and sisters, look at the hiqat these a'da'ullah, these masakeen have for Ahl Sunnah. They're all united with all the zindiqs, with a zindiq whose hujjah is the Pakistani national anthem, to invoke Ali, with the Kemet guy. These are, subhanAllah.
Hassan, I just wanted to say something, if you don't mind.
Look how haqq and batil has been made clear. Allah made it clear for you. The batil is these zindiqs, Kemet, or Rafida, with some other zindiq who denies principles of Ahl Sunnah and beliefs of Ahl Sunnah, who they call a mufti, and then there you have Ahl Sunnah. And then these clowns who say Imam Turdi, who say Nuh alayhi salam, who can't say his own name of his own channel, like this Raza guy miskin, then they call the Sunni Defense comedy defense or whatever. Ya miskin, comedy is the show that you guys make on you, and the lies. Comedy is to come and insult Bilal alayhi salam anhu, and say that Bilal, you know, he had couldn't read Arabic properly, say or pronounce the scene on the sheen, he confused scene and sheen. People mocked him, repeating non-fabrications to over 1 hour video we made against that, and you couldn't reply to that. And Farid refuted you. How many lies did Farid refute just from this Raza liar, this miskin?
You know? Hassan, excuse me. Just
time, brothers, for 2 more lies. This Kemet guy for
later. I have a point regarding the marriage from the Imam.
Abul Abbas, Habibi, just before anything, we have a special guest. Apparently, Kalam is on. He's in the chat, and I think it would be best to give him a platform to share his thoughts and to express why he believes that the Sunni Defense is being unfair and mistranslating and lying about this material. Would you like to join, Kalam?
Yeah, let him join. I have questions for him. He lied.
Guys, what would you, we're waiting for Kalam to reply. Let's go to Abu Abbas, who's been waiting for a while to make a point.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan. So regarding what Hassan said earlier about the Imams getting married, I found a very interesting quote from the famous Shia muhaddith and scholar Sharif al-Murtada, one of their major pillars of Shia scholarship. He quotes part of a poem where he says رجل كلا طرفيه من سام وما حام له باب ولا بأبي.
Abul Abbas, please, Yakhi, just 5 seconds. I just want to point out that Kalam said that he's currently, he said, I'm not available at present, and I'll try to free up some time. Kalam, anytime you want to do this, the boys have done their research and they'll clarify things. So whenever, bro, whenever.
Okay, cool. So he quotes a poem. Okay, so let's see what Shaykh Murtada has to say about this poem. It's a poem in praise of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Okay, so Shaykh al-Murtada says, I'm going to zoom in, so just in case the brothers can't see. It says, فَأَمَّا قَوْلُهُ كِلَا طَرْفَيْهِ مِنْ سَامٍ إِلَى آخِرِهِ فَإِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ أَنَّ أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام ما ولده من كلا طرفيه حام. So he says, this praise of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's because he, from his mom's dad and from his dad's side and his mom's side, did not have any ancestors from Ham. Now Ham is the ancestor of the black race, as he says, لأن حاما والد السودان وساما والد البيضان. So they're praising Ali bin Abi Talib because none of his ancestors from his mom or his dad's side were black. That's pretty clear from the text. And then he says, وأم أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام فاطمة بنت أسد بن هاشم بن عبد مناف وهو أول هاشمي ولد في الإسلام بين هاشميين وليس في أمهاته وإن بعدنا وعلونا من هو من ولد حام. So he says Amir al-Mu'mineen is the son of Fatima bint Asad bin Hashim bin Abd Manaf. He was the first pure Hashimi from both parents to be born into Islam. And none of his ancestors, none of his moms, his maternal ancestors, whether they be close or distant ancestors, were from the descendants of Ham, the ancestor, of the black race. And then he says, وعرض السيد في قوله هذا بعمر بن الخطاب لأن صحاك أمه حبشية. Okay, this is very interesting. What did Kalam say last time? If you're asking about a Sahabi who is black or, you know, partially black, you guys only have Bilal. Well, our four caliphs, Umar al-Khattab had a black grandma, Habibi. Okay? Let's see what your Shia buddies are saying over here. Let's see how they're going to mock him because of that. He says, قوله هذا بعمر بن الخطاب لأن صهاك أمه حبشية وطئها عبد العزة بن رباح بن عبد الله بن قرط بن رزاح إلى آخره فجاءت بنفيل بن عبد العزة. هذا في رواية الهيثم بن عدي الطائي وأبي عبيدة إلى آخره. So he says Umar's grandma was Suhak. She was Habashiyya, she was Abyssinian from Ethiopia. And she was married to, or she was basically, she bared the child from Abd al-Uzza, and she gave birth to Nufail, Umar's ancestor. Okay. And then he says, وَأَرَادَ السَّيِّدُ فَضْلَ نَسَبِ أَمِيرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ عَلَى نَسَبِ مَنْ ذَكَرَهُ. So he's saying Ali is superior to Umar because Umar had a black ancestor. Subhanallah. What happened to all the Sunnahs not having, you know, black Sahaba or from the four caliphs? He says, فإن قيل في ولادة حام معرة ومنقصة فكيف تطرق هذا على كثير من أئمتكم عليه السلام فقد ولدتهم الإماء من أبي الحسن موسى إلى صاحب الزمان. Okay, interesting question. Someone asks, well, if being born or being a descendant of Ham is an insult and a degrading characteristic to have, then how did that happen to some of your imams who were born from slave women? Good question. Such as Abul Hassan, Musa, and Sahib al-Zaman, the Mahdi. What does al-Murtada respond saying? ما عير السيد بولادة الإماء وإنما عير بولادة حام. The Sayyid did not insult him for being born from a slave woman because the Imams were also born from slave women. However, he insulted him for being born from Ham, from the descendants of Ham, the black race. وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ أُمَّةٍ مِّن وَلَدِ حَام. And not all nations are from the descendants of Ham. And the Imams of most of our Imams that were mentioned, even though they were slave women, they were not from the descendants of Ham. فَأُمُّ أبي الحسن موسى بربرية. Musa's mom was from the Berbers. And it is said that she was from Al-Andalus and her name was Hamida.
Yes.
Okay. وأم علي ibn Musa مرسية تسمى الخيزران. I think Mursiya is referring to Al-Andalus, but I could be wrong. وأم أبي جعفر عليه السلام قيل إنها مرسية تسمى سكينة وقيل بربرية. So he's saying essentially
most of them are North Africans, natives of North
yeah,
Africa.
They're not even Bantu. They're not from descendants of Ham. They are from Mursiya, which I'm assuming is from Andalus because he's saying Berbers, and he's saying that they're Berbers. They're not blacks. And then he says, وأمهات العسكريين والقائم عجل الله فرجه مولدات لسنا من ولد حام. This is the moms of Al-Hasan al-Askari and Al-Qa'im, the Mahdi, are not from the descendants of Ham.
Yeah, they look at the racism as if the descendants of Ham, which are the black skinned people, as if they're evil people. And look.
SubhanAllah. So this is more than enough to show how nonsensical, all these arguments they've made, And then let's go to a part where Mr. Kalam, who knows Arabic shwaya, quotes a report in Al-Tabari. Let's go to that report, inshallah.
To be honest, in defense of Kalam, his Arabic is not worse than Mr. Turfi's Raza's Arabic. It's not worse. Probably is even better.
Good point.
Probably is better.
You guys, can you see my screen?
No, right now, no, it's just your logo.
I'm not sharing it, sorry. Cool, I'm gonna share you. Okay, you can see me now, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's see what he has to quote from our books to prove Ali was black, supposedly. Bismillah.
Abul Abbas, if you don't mind, related to what you were just saying, just a quick point.
Oh, sure. What were you saying, Farid?
Okay. Yeah, so basically, what I have here is kitab. Who is it? Yeah, it's a Tabrasi's I'lam al-Wara, and he quotes. He speaks about the mother of some of the imams, the mothers of some of the imams. He mentions that the mother of Raza, okay, she's referred to as al-Banin, and her name is Najma. All right,
yeah.
and that she was Nubiya. Okay,
yes.
And he says quite clearly. He says that his mother is Walad, okay, meaning that she wasn't the wife of Al-Kadhim, but she was a slave of Al-Kadhim. So that's something to keep in mind. The narration says. Say what, Hassan?
Most of the mothers were like Daesh style slave women and maids. Yeah, this is maybe they should explain to. Maybe they should
If you want to put it that way.
Maybe the Shias, they always try to throw Ahl Sunnah under the bus. Yeah, maybe they should say, yeah, our holy imams, they took slave maids and slave girls. No, they didn't always free them. They slept with them. They made children with them. But it's all right. It's all right if it's for the Imam alayhi salam, then it's all right. So
okay, and this is the second one, Jawad, as you have mentioned. Again, same book. It says that his mother. Where is it? Okay, his mother is Walad again, and her name is Sabika, and she was Nubiya. It says again, she says she's Walad. Walad again, okay, is a slave who gives birth to a child. So again, and the two mothers of the imams were not wives of the fathers, but they were slaves of the fathers.
Not just them. The other, it's just that these two are Nubians. The other ones,
right? Of course,
native North Africans, the native people of North Africa.
Right. So I just wanted to point that out to clarify things. Maybe I don't know if Kalam is still going to defend, Shiism after this. Wallahu a'lam.
He explained why Shiism appeals more to him as a black man. I'm going to get to this.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's go back to Abbas.
Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. SubhanAllah, I keep on forgetting. All right, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's see what Kalam has to make an argument about Ali ibn Abi Talib. Bismillah.
Description of Ali. Let me just give you a quick description. And I will go to the Sunni sources themselves, yeah? Let's just quickly go there. Let's go there. Is my screen sharing? All you have to do, yeah, is go to the history of Tabari, volume 39. This is not even hard. This is just light work for me. The page number 37. What does it say here? Isaac ibn Abdullah ibn Abi Farwa asked Abu Jafar Muhammad al-Bakri, Bakr, sorry, key name right there, this is a very key name right here, Ibn Ali. What did Ali look like? He said, so this is the great grandson, yeah, that's being asked, yeah, and he said a man of dark brown complexion and heavy eyes.
I see Hassan's like cracking up. He's like crack up because Kalam referred to Bakr as al-Bakri. Kalam, you've been hanging out with these guys too much.
I can imagine this saying that
I think we lost.
You want to finish the video first so it doesn't get chopped up?
My bad. We just had to comment on that.
That's good. It's all good.
Big-bellied and rather short. So we already know, yeah, that Ali is a dark-skinned man. We already know this. Yeah.
So
okay, let's actually address what Brother Kalam is saying.
Abul Abbas, sorry, before just a few seconds, Akhi.
Sure.
What, subhanAllah, look, these masakin who feed this poor guy. Ali bin Abi Talib being a dark-skinned guy doesn't mean that he is what is considered among Arabs as Sood, black.
Before that, something else.
Brother Farid is a dark-skinned Arab. So what? And they these closet racists, some of them made comments about, why. There was a Sayyid Ali guy, actually, who said he looks like an Indian to me. The Miskin does. Anyway, being dark-skinned, go to Saudi Arabia, go to Riyadh, go to Oman, go to Yemen. These people are Yemen fans now, yeah? They are fans of the 70% Yemeni Sunni nation now, yeah? Because of... There's many Arabs who are dark-skinned. But
so
anyway, there's a very...
Wait a second. That's assuming...
Doesn't mean... My father is dark-skinned. My father is very dark-skinned. My mother is very light-skinned. So probably if Kalam looks up the description of my father somewhere, the dark-skinned father was like, Hashim's father, mashallah, was black. Alayhi salam. I'm Shiism. That's it. Okay. This is now you extract information from reading and then concluding from it that he was most Arabs from the peninsula are dark-skinned. So what do you have now, Abul Abbas?
Okay. Guys, quick note. Can let's let Abbas get to the crux of his argument before we jump in. We've chopped him off quite a bit.
It's all good, Akhi. Okay, so first of all, as Hassan pointed out, it's a mistranslation. Dark brown does not necessarily mean he's black. That's point number one. And as we've shown from Shaykh Murtada, he had no black ancestors. That's point number one. Okay, point number two, he thinks he's really smart. He went to Tarikh al-Tabari, to find the report. The genius doesn't know that the report is really weak. And the reason is right in front of you. Ishaq bin Abdullah bin Abi Farwa is classified as matruk al-hadith by the muhaddithin. They said ضعيف. Ibn Hibban says about him, كان ممن يقلب الأسانيد. He used to distort the reports and flip them and make mistakes in his transmission. Not only that, what's interesting is Ibn Khirash. And Ibn Khirash is Shia, he's a Rafidi hadith critic we have, by the way. Very extreme. He used to insult Abu Bakr and Umar and whatnot. He was a Rafidi. He's not as authoritative, but he's Shia. He called Ishaq bin Abdullah bin Abi Farwa a kadhab, a liar. And so
excuse me, Abul Abbas, very important. Ali, can you please send Kalam the link?
I'm working on it. I just didn't want to stop Abbas. I mean, it's not
fair.
Sorry,
man. I'm sorry, Abul Abbas.
I'm going to get you in, mate. Let Abbas just finish his point. I'm working on it.
Okay, so this guy is quoting a quote in Tabari as if it's like absolute evidence, and the report is not even it doesn't have a basis. It's weak. You cannot even rely on this. So it's totally out of the picture. Okay. You guys want to let him go in now? Because there's another point that I'd bring up after that.
I just keep going. I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
You'll see him one season.
Okay, so let's see what he has to say after that. He quotes a book. Now, this is very interesting. Bismillah.
Let's go on a little bit further as well, yeah? This is from Al-Jahiz, yeah? For those of you guys know about Al-Jahiz, yeah? He's one of the most prolific scientists, yeah? Polymaths, yeah? that the world has ever seen. And he says this, Abdullah ibn Abbas was blackest in magnificence, and the family of Abu Talib were the most noble of men, and they were black with black skin.
Okay, so after he used a bunch of baseless reports from Al-Tabari, he moved on to even a weaker argument, mashallah. So he goes to Al-Jahid. Al-Jahid is not a historian, by the way, and his book is not a book on history, the glory. Look at, subhanAllah, what's ironic is you cannot get more unacademic than this. The book is called Mufakharat al-Sudan al-Bidan. Since Al-Jahid is black, he authored a whole book trying to prove how black people are superior to white people. So the book's called Mufakharat al-Sudan al-Bidan, the pride of blacks over the whites. طيب? And he's not a historian. I will not take what he has to say in this book seriously, because there's clearly a huge bias in it. Obviously, there's no isnad. There's a gap. There's a 300-year gap between Al-Jahid and all these incidents he's quoting and these people he's referring to. He's not a historian. He's clearly biased in a book he authored showing the superiority of the black race. So I'm sorry, this is not gonna cut it. This is not gonna cut it. And this is another point I have to make, very important and fundamental to this whole discussion. He thinks he's smart. He starts quoting how the Imams are black. Okay, for the sake of argument, I'll tell you a bunch of Bani Hashim and Ahlul Bayt were all black. The implications of this is not that they're racist. As you're claiming that I'm claiming Ali ibn Abi Talib is racist and I'm misrepresenting him. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the implication is these books and these quotes are fabricated. That the Shia hadith tradition has no relationship to Ali ibn Abi Talib and to the rest of Ahlul Bayt. Okay, so that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not telling you Ali ibn Abi Talib is a racist, and you're saying, how could Ali say such a thing? I agree with you. How could Ali say such a thing? We negate such blasphemy and such nonsense from Ali ibn Abi Talib and the rest of Ahlul Bayt. I'm just approaching the question from a historical approach. I'm not approaching it from a biased approach after eating, a tub of biryani with my friends and I'm trying to defend them. Okay? So historically speaking, the fact that Ali ibn Abi Talib is black, according to you, should merely be a red flag that these books and this literature is falsely attributed to him. You don't try to re-explain the historical report because Ali ibn Abi Talib is black. That's such a flawed approach to this whole, literature.
Which is not even correct anyway.
Which is not even correct.
Guys, I just wanted
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Hani. Assalamu alaikum, Hani.
Wa alaikum assalam. I don't know if you guys can hear me clearly. I'm just going to make a really quick argument before I leave. I've looked at the descriptions of Ali ibn Abi Talib throughout all the books of Ahl Sunnah. And yes, Ali ibn Abi Talib, it's unanimous that he was dark-skinned. but that has nothing to do with race. Ali ibn Abi Talib's darkness has nothing to do with race. It's just because most of the Arabs at the time were very dark-skinned, and this is a fact. The desert-dwelling Arabs were dark-skinned, and you can't even imagine otherwise, to be honest with you. But that doesn't mean that he likes certain, or that they can't be racist against certain other races, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. So go on. Salam.
Alaikum salam, Hani. Thank you for the short input. Guys, quick update. Kalam, I've sent you an email with the link, so we're waiting on you, mate. For Abbas.
Okay, so we're approaching this question from a historical, approach. This should cause, doubts in the hadith literature. I agree with you. Ali could not say such a thing. I'm telling you, the implication is not that Ali is racist and that Ahlul Bayt are racist. No, the implication is that this whole Shia hadith literature is. Hassan, I think there's some voice coming from your mic, if you don't mind. Jazakallah khairan. So the implication is that this whole Shia hadith literature is fabricated, not that Ali ibn Abi Talib and Al-Baqir and the Imam of Ahlul Bayt are racist. So I think that's the proper way to approach it. Wallahu alam. And I think he just joined the chat.
Yeah.
Welcome, Kalam.
All right, I'd like to welcome Kalam to the Sunni Defense.
This excellent he came now because I just prepared two things for him and he can respond to it. Perfect.
Go for it, Hassan.
Before you do that, my brother, I've got 5 minutes, okay? So I'm going to apologize right now. I've only got 5 minutes on here with you guys, okay? So
okay,
go ahead.
All right, you're here for 5 minutes, right?
Yep, 12 minutes past 3. I've got to go.
Excellent. Brothers and sisters, I already commented on some stuff he said. Now here
Hassan, let Kalam speak, man. He's just on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I just want to mention the two things and he can respond to that because literally something that he said.
Hassan, how about we go with one thing? And then if we've got time for the second one, we'll do that.
No. Just Akhi, he can respond to it because he made claims.
Go ahead.
And as I said, brothers and sisters, my feeling is obviously this person has no knowledge, and these Rafida are people of deception and they feed him with some half-baked knowledge. So, for example, one of the things he said that whenever I ask people in Hyde Park, name me a black Sahaba, they only can name Bilal, Radiyallahu anhu. No, of nothing else. We as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we say Hyde Park is not an evidence against us, no, let alone your experience. The reality, and here I advise, and I want to know from this Kalam guy, because I can't believe that the Sunnis are so jahil that they know only Bilal. Because he made a big claim. He said, as a black man, Shiism appeals more to me because I don't know, Ali is black, Fulan is black. The miskin doesn't know that only two of the Imams were dark-skinned Nubians. They weren't even Bantus. They weren't most Northern Afro-Americans, most West Africans, most people from where Kalam himself descends are from Bantu background. Those people who the Imams of the Astaghfirullah, we defend the Ahlul Bayt. We are lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. We believe the Rafida are the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt. The lies that the Rafida attributed to the Ahlul Bayt, these hadiths attack Bantu people, attack the vast majority of black people, the people of Kalam. And Kalam says, who is there other than Bilal? Well, I advise you, Kalam, and that you should read.
Hassan, Jazakallah khair. I think the point's been made. Kalam did say he'll only stay on for 5 minutes, so I'm going to give the floor to him. Kalam, it's all yours.
Yes,
I'll give it to you.
See, my alarm clock is going off. Let me know I need to go. Okay. So basically, after you just said all of that, okay. I said, okay, I'm doubt that you guys could name me another person of repute inside of the Sunni literature. Okay. I said, I know. Hold on, let me finish, okay? Because usually I said when we talk about name somebody black, the first go-to person they go to is Bilal. Okay, I asked, an imam, a sheikh. No. You know what you should do? Name somebody such as a caliph, who was of black origin or black skin or whatever the case is. Hold on. Let me finish. Okay, and I said I know of some. Okay, but I just want to know if you know of any. Okay, that's what I said, and you lot came up with Umar, and I don't have no problem with that. I'm glad to see that you guys are educated. Okay, it's just a shame that most people from Speaker's Corner and Muslims in general don't know about any other black caliphs or anybody of black skin who were prominent inside of the Islamic world at those times. You know what? Let me just quickly go back. You said quite a lot of things throughout this video itself. So earlier on, you made mention about the word Zanj or Zinj, yeah? And you're saying that it means all black people. Am I right to say that you were wrong in translating the word Zanj as being black, rather than translating it as one specific ethnicity within inside of Africa?
No, he was right.
Okay,
I'll give that to Abbas.
Okay. As I shown, I don't know if you saw the part where I quoted Lane's lexicon, which is, a pretty authoritative text. He says that the word can be used, in both meanings. So it can refer to a specific region, as you said, and it can refer to the black race. So it's not like I'm coming with this stuff. I'm not coming up with this stuff. And then, as I said, you look at the chapter heading. It uses the term Sudan, which refers to the black race. And then you take into context what all the jurists said, and I took that into account.
Before you go into all of that, okay, could you pull that up? Because unfortunately, I think that you guys don't understand the grammar of the text itself. Clearly, there is parenthesis around the words that you actually recited, rather than what's actually inside of the original text itself.
This is it, Kalam. This is it. Check it out. Hadith number 9489.
No, I'm talking about Lane's. I'm talking about the Lane's. I'm talking about the Lane's lexicon. Okay. So quite clearly, the person who actually translated this knew the difference between calling them blacks in general and just saying the Zanj, which is one ethnic group that's in Africa that was in Iraq as well.
Kalam, is that any less racist? Kalam, like the Bantu people are like 85 million people. Is it like less racist if you say don't get married to Bantus?
It's not specifically the Bantu people. It's one ethnicity. It's one group of people.
No, it's better. We read the other hadith where the Imam said, do not marry any Sud, any black except the Nubians. Kalam, Nubian people have Caucasian features. Nubian
they
people
really don't.
Wait,
let's not
Kalam, just one second, Kalam.
No, 1 second. This is a Nubian. This is a Nubian right here. Okay, this is a Nubian right here. Marble portrait of a Nubia denizen. There you go. All right. So please, you're coming off with your own prejudice, rather than going with what it actually is. It is not my prejudice. It is your prejudice. But I want to go back because I've only got I've gone past my time. So I want to go back.
No. You can't accuse me of prejudice when it's a scientific fact that Nubian people are non-Bantu people. Are Nubian people Bantu people? Yes or no? Don't embarrass yourself with your answer. Are Nubian people a Bantu people? Yes or no?
Listen,
answer, and you're gonna embarrass yourself. Be careful of your answer. Are Nubian people a Bantu people or natives of the Nile who majority? I'm not saying all of them. You can look it up on you can look it up on Google. You can look up Nubian kids, elders, grown-ups. They are very similar to Habasha people, Ethiopian people, and the rest of East African people. All African people are beautiful. Bantu people, non-Bantu people. It's not about that. The fact is that the evil Shia religion attributed hadith to the imams who are innocent of Shiism in the first place, where the imam said, do not marry any black except the Nubians. So Kalam, answer me. Shiism teaches that all blacks are evil except the Nubians. Nubians is a particular part. I don't care how they exactly look like. There could be a Nubian who looks more similar than the Bantu. I don't deny that. But is this less racist, Kalam? Are you seriously saying that this is less racist?
Okay, so you're jumping around.
Racist.
You're jumping around.
I'm not jumping. Forward question.
Well,
okay. You are clearly jumping around. I asked you about the Lane's lexicon, and we've ended up all the way over here to Bantu.
You could not answer it because I know that if you answer it, you're gonna dig. You already dig the hole, and you're gonna jump in it. That's the problem for you.
Okay, so this is what I'll do. Okay. If you're able to answer my question, I will jump onto your questions. Because right now, you've just done a whole tirade of responding from my one question. I asked you, okay, so where you read from the Lane's lexicon, is what you read from the Lane's lexicon part of the actual literature itself, or was it in parenthesis?
Okay, I'll give that to Abbas, and then after that, we'll get Kalam to answer Hassan's point.
Well, I don't have it in front of me right now, but what's the difference? What difference would it make?
Kalam.
The difference is what you was reading out wasn't part of the actual original text. It is parenthesis, meaning it's to clarify the point rather than what's actually inside of the text. That's what it means.
Does it really make a difference?
It does make a difference because what you guys are doing is actually ascribing something. You guys are actually ascribing something that's not actually inside of the text. It's somebody else, a later author, that is now putting it inside of the text.
That's not true, by the way. What Lane does is he'll quote Arabic dictionaries such as Taj al-Arus, which he refers to as TA, and then he'll put what they say in parentheses, and then he'll elaborate. It's not someone adding something into the text. And by the way, let me ask you this question.
Go for it.
Okay, let me see. Meanwhile, while I open it, for the sake of argument, I'll grant it to you. Okay, Zinj is referring to a specific race. For the sake of argument, I'll tell you you're right. Does that make it any better? You know, referring to a small group of people, to a small ethnicity as being distorted in their physical features? Does that make it better?
Kalam, it's over to you.
Sorry. Could you repeat that question?
Okay, I'll grant it to you for the sake of argument. I'll tell you, yes, you're right. Zinj is only a specific group of people. Does that make it any less racist to describe a small group of people as being physically distorted in their creation?
What that means, it makes your argument redundant because you try to put forward.
Tell me, is that racist or not?
You're trying to put forward that it is blacks in general rather than a specific ethnicity.
Forget about black skin. Is it not racist?
So no. Can I finish? Can I finish? So therefore,
answer my question. You're not answering my question.
I am answering your question. So give me time to answer your question. So you've basically put forward that it's saying blacks. So therefore, if it's saying blacks in general, therefore it would come across racist if the other person's outside of that race. Okay, the person's outside of that race, and you're saying blacks in general, therefore it is racist. If you're saying it's part of a particular ethnicity, okay, you have to understand the reason why they're saying part of a particular ethnicity. It doesn't mean that it's racist.
It's not racist to describe a whole ethnicity as being physically distorted?
Sorry, repeat that once more.
So you're essentially telling me, for me to describe a whole particular ethnicity as being physically distorted, that wouldn't be racist. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. So now again, you have to even justify, does it mean all, does it say that they are distorted physically, or is it talking about something mentally?
Well, your voice is not that clear, but I heard what you said. As I showed previously, Al-Majlisi explained what he meant by qubh al-khilqa. Sorry, but what he meant by mushawwah, which is the term Ali used. It means ugly. It means ugly and physically distorted.
Give me 10 minutes. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Okay. I don't know if we'll be live at that time, but Allah ma'ak.
You will be back in 10
again, guys. Again, it says here's the quote, because you must remain on your guard against marriage with people of a Zinj because it's a distorted creature. Shino, has nothing to do with mental disorder.
And the nonsense is essentially, you can see where his potential racism is. As long as it's not about the black race as a whole, he doesn't have a problem with it. You know, you can trash the whole.
This is like saying, oh yeah, the Imams only attack, for example, the South Africans. What do you mean? It's a whole ethnicity. Look, Akhi, Kalam is not stupid. Kalam is not stupid. You could tell, everybody could tell he's not stupid. Because the moment he realized, of course it's racist. Even if you attack an island of 100 people of one ethnicity, it's a racist, right? So what did he say? He tried to, because he digged the grave, he digged for himself his grave, he jumped in, he wants to come out now. So what did he say to brother Abul Abbas? He said, yeah, but is it about mentally? Because obviously he doesn't know Arabic. And obviously the Imam Turfi guy knows even worse Arabic than him. So he's confused. Do you know what khalq means? Go to any Arab.
I'll be back in
Arab. Say to him, khalqun mushawwah. Distorted creation. In fact, a distorted creation includes both mentally and physically. Sah wala la? It's the whole creation is mushawwah. So this should be your answer for Abul Abbas. That
even if sorry. even if it didn't represent, the black race as a whole, it would still be racist. I don't understand what he's trying to say. Okay, if you target Zinjis and say that they're all physically ugly as a whole ethnicity, no, it wouldn't be racist. But if you attack my race, then it would be racist. I don't find that academically honest, to be honest. It's still problematic. We didn't even get to what the Imam said about the Kurds, by the way. I have a whole thing prepared about the Kurds.
We leave the Kurds for another. That's going to be too much for one session. I just want to comment on something very quickly. When he said to me, my prejudice, although I made it so clear from the very beginning that I'm quoting and I'm not stereotyping. I'm talking in general sense. For example, it is a scientific fact. It's scientific fact that, for example, the Somali people have so-called Caucasian features. Not every, but mostly. That's true. There's a physical difference between, for example, a Nigerian man and a Somali man. This is a fact. Doesn't mean that one is more beautiful or less. They're all beautiful. Nigerian people are beautiful. Somali people are beautiful. Caribbean people are beautiful. All the khalq of Allah is beautiful. It's not about that. Our point was that their imams in their books, their lies that they attributed to the imams of Ahlul, their imams said, do not marry any black people. Any. I'm not talking about the Zinj generation. I'm talking about the Abul generation, which they themselves translated with the derogatory term Negro. It's not what I use the word. They use the word, do not marry any Negro except the Nubians. And then Kalam, I haven't even seen the picture. You guys have seen the picture. He probably put some picture of some person who's apparently Nubian and said, oh, look, what is this sound? This he put a picture, I think, I haven't seen it, of a Nubian person and said, oh, but look, this person does have, I don't know, typical or whatever you want to call it, or Bantu features or whatever. It's not about that. The fact is that Shias go around half-baked knowledge. I've seen it in comments. How can we be racist when so many of our imams married Africans? What do you mean? Most of the imams' mothers were slave girls. Yeah, they were Barbariyat, natives of northern Africa. 2 or 3, some say even only 1 of the imams had Nubian mothers. Majority of Nubian people today live in southern Egypt and northern Sudan. And you can see them. They are quite similar to Arabs. So you can tell, you can sense so much racism from the narration that the imams, by justifying, or those who fabricated the narrations, by justifying the blackness of 1 or 2 or 3 max of the imams, justify it by saying, yeah, only the Nubians, though, the people of the Nile. That's why when I asked the question, he wasn't able to answer. He didn't want to answer. When I asked him a straightforward question, when I said, are Nubian people a Bantu people? Of course, he would embarrass himself if he would say yes. No scientist on earth categorizes the Nubian people as Bantu people. Bantu people are from West Africa, Central Africa, Southeast, and the South mainly. Not Southern Egypt, Northern Sudan. And one more thing I want to mention. When he said yes, but he asked people in Hyde Park and they only know Bilal, and he's very happy that we are learned and we know more than Bilal. Right? As I said, I can't trust this man. I don't know about you guys, but I can't even trust this man that nobody in Hyde Park, although Hyde Park is not the most academical place. I myself went there only 1 or 2 or 3 times, and I don't deem it very, it's not an academical place, except a few exceptions. I think from every religion there, the rest is not much worth it there to go there in the first place. So this person wants to tell us that revert Sunni personalities. Brothers and sisters, brothers, you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Revert Sunni personalities, Sahaba. Don't these Rafida accuse us to venerate, worship Sahaba? Of course we don't. These people invoke Ahlul Bayt, pray to Ahlul Bayt, name themselves Abdul Hussein even and stuff like that. We don't worship Sahaba, but we learn their history, we learn their background. So which Sunni doesn't know that Usama ibn Zayd was black? Which Sunni doesn't know that Zayd ibn Haritha was black? Ayman was black. Sa'd al-Aswad was black. Julaybib was black. Abu Dhar was black. Ayman ibn Ubayd was black. If he, subhanAllah, we even have, and this is, wallahi, this is now a sincere advice from me to any black brother, Muslim and sister from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, or any black brother and sister in humanity, chemics, whatever they are. Go look up 7 luminous black companions companions of the Prophet. Look that up. And if you can, for a few pounds, it's just a few pounds, get yourself the book Centering Black Narratives, Black Muslim Nobles Among the Early Pious Muslims by Mr. Ahmed Mubarak and Dawood Walid. Dawood Walid, as far as I know, I'm not 100% sure. He's not a 12 or 100%, but I think he's a Zaydi or Zaydi lenient. He has a lot of good works and posts on social media exposing 12er extremism. For example, the 12er hatred for names like Umar, Abu Bakr, Uthman, Aisha. He proves that many of the Ahlul Bayt named their children like this. And don't give me that they named it because of reasons other than naming their children after Abu Bakr. So what? Go then and name your child Umar for the reason Ali named his child Umar. Go name your child Uthman. And in this book that I just mentioned, he mentions facts about many. First of all, he mentions the fact that many early Arabs, and even today in Oman and Yemen, many Arabs are quite dark skinned. He mentions that the early Arabs were much darker skinned than today, which makes sense. He mentions that Umar al-Khattab, Kalam mentioned a caliph. Name was a caliph. Umar al-Khattab, radiallahu anhu, his grandmother was Ethiopian.
Hassan Habibi, I believe Abbas has some stuff that he still wants to get.
All right, just 1 second. Umar al-Khattab's grandmother was Ethiopian.
Put it this way: half an hour, Hassan. We're gonna call it a show at 4 o'clock UK. So let's go to Abbas. Hassan, you can finish your point, and then I'd like to ask a few questions.
I just wanted to give I wish this book would be more spread by black brothers and sisters. Yes, there is more. There will be more affected if I would do it, of course. If this book, Centering Black Narrative, Black Muslim Nobles Among the Early Pious Muslims, this book refutes the likes of Sarah and this big bro and this what is his name? This Kalam and all these black supremacists. Because in this book, it's proven these people are so miskin when they read that the Prophet was white.
Wow,
when they read the Prophet
supremacist.
was white, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Sunni hadith, they think that Abya, for example, means like modern day white. They don't understand that most Sahaba were dark skinned. Many Sahaba, many companions had Ethiopian mothers. Many. Umar al-Khattab's grandmother was Ethiopian. And the funniest bit, and then I have to leave completely, inshallah, because I'll leave it to you guys. The funniest bit is that then this Zindiq, Sayyid Ali, comes at the end of the show and praises this this Kalam for his half-baked knowledge and says, well done, I couldn't done it better than you. Unfortunately, in our culture, the Imams are portrayed light-skinned. What do you mean, unfortunately? All these Imams that are portrayed, wallahi, I love the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt more than my own self, than my own mother. That is why I defend them from the lies of the Rafida. Just like I like, just the way I love Jesus Christ, alayhi salam, more than Christians. That's why I detest Christianity, and I detest Trinity, and I believe it's a lie upon Jesus Christ, alayhi salam, peace be upon him. The same way the Sunni Defense, I and every Sunni detest Shiism, refute Shiism, reject Shiism, because it's a lie in the name of the Ahlul Bayt. Not because we are enemies of the Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt are Taj Ra'sna. They are the crowns over our heads. We love them more than anything else. Then some miskin like this, 1 second, like this Sayyid Ali coming and saying, yeah, unfortunately they are portrayed like this. I tell you one last thing. It is Shiism, ya Kalam, when you say, what would I choose as a black man? This is very important. This is my last point, then I'm going to go. As a black man, I would be, what would I choose? Sunnism or Shiism? Miskin doesn't even know that less than 3, maybe 2, only 2. Some say only 1 of the Imams had Nubian mothers. And the Imams in their books attacked all black people except Nubians. He doesn't know this. He doesn't know that in their culture, the Imams, in every Husayniyah you go, except few, especially in the culture of the Sayyid Ali, in the Pakistani Shia culture, they portray the Imams like transsexual looking, womanish looking Persians with thin eyebrows and white skin color. This is how they are. This is the sect. This is the religion that has portrayed the Ahlul Bayt like feminine looking woman, like womanish looking man. If you remove the beard, it looks like some Persian Babak boy from Edgware Road. This is what their religion has done. Not Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Go from Mali, go to Sudan, go to Saudi Arabia, go to Riyadh. I was in an Arab country. I lived in an Arab country, Ya Kalam. There are people, Arabs, who are darker skinned than you. Go to Qom. Go to my country, Iran. They spit on you. They spit on you and call you names. Here, few 2-3 black Shias Don't be happy, Raza. This Raza says that we are scared because some people become Shia. Every sect, every religion, the dumbest ideology will get some reverts, converts. That's normal. It's Sunnatullah. Qadianis have sent us in Jamaica. We are not scared of you. We are saying,
well, I wanted to make
guys, we got Hassan.
All right, because you know what, my brother, you're filibustering right. You're filibustering right now. I like to.
Guys, what we'll do. Thank you for the input, Hassan. Kalam, Abul Abbas is waiting for a while, so let Abul Abbas make his point.
Wait, before that, because
the guy's been waiting.
Because the brother slandered me on air, yeah, and I'd rather get an apology,
You'll get a chance.
or yeah, for him to either take back what he said, apologize what he said, or provide the evidence, yeah, where I'm a supremacist, because that is a blatant slander right now on live YouTube.
All right, Kalam, we'll get to that, mate, if you just stay with us. But Abbas, over to you.
Okay, Bismillah. So we went over, Zinj in that discussion, something that Kalam never addressed in his video, and he mentioned that at the beginning. He said they're going to address it later, is about the Kurds. I want to share these two quotes because they're very important. One of them is by Tusi, one of them is by Jamil Hamoud, that same sheikh that Hassan Qadri was posting pictures with. Okay, first quote is, let me screen share. Bismillah. Okay, this is the report I shared on my video where Imam Abu Muhammad tells Ahmed ibn Abi Abdullah, do not meet the Kurds except with the blade of your sword, right? Let's see what Al-Tusi has to say in his Nihaya. Okay. وينبغي أن يتجنب مخالطة السفل من الناس والأدنين منهم. So Tusi says, and a Muslim must avoid mixing with inferior people and the bottom low class amongst them. Okay, interesting. Then he says, ولا يعامل من نشأ في خير ولا يعامل إلا من نشأ في خير. He should only deal with someone who's been brought up in a good, from a good background, who comes from a good background. And then he says, ويجتنب معاملة ذوي العاهات والمحارفين. And he should avoid dealing with people with handicapped people with defects and people that are, scammers. And then he says, ولا ينبغي أن يخالط أحدا من الأكراد. And he must not mix with anyone from the Kurds. ويجتنب مبايعتهم ومشاراتهم ومناكحتهم. And he must avoid selling them stuff and buying from them and marrying from them. And here's where's the worst. Forget about racism, forget about everything. Look at what he says over here. وينبغي لمن أخذ شيئا بالوزن ألا يأخذه إلا ناقصا وإذا أعطاه لا يعطيه إلا راجحا. Allahu Akbar. So what he says is, if you deal with them in trade, you should always give them, the weight. Back in the days when they used to trade, they used to weigh everything on a scale. He says you always give them lesser than the weight they asked for. And if you take from them, you only take more than what you pay for. وَإِذَا كَالَ لَا يَكِيلُ إِلَّا وَافِيًا. Subhanallah. So, this is racist, bro. Like, I don't care if he didn't talk about the black race. As I said, for the sake of argument, I'll grant it to you that he was talking about a specific group of people. I disagree with that. I think I'm still right. But for the sake of argument, it'd still be racist. Same thing here. Look at this blasphemy. Wallah azim, ya akhi, this cannot be attributed to the madhab of Ahlul Bayt. This is nonsense. If you have anything to respond to that, please go ahead.
Barakallah feek. Abbas, did you have any other points? So can we open it up to Kalam to answer your question? And then inshallah we can get Hassan to answer Kalam's question as well.
It summarizes it pretty well, inshallah. I'm done.
Okay. Kalam, you had a question. If you could please answer Abbas's point, please. He asked you a question, and then after that, I'll pose your question to Hassan about you being slandered. Kalam, over to you.
Could you restate the question again, please?
Okay. Is it not racist to describe a group of people or an ethnicity as being physically defective? I asked you that earlier before you left.
No, it's not. It won't be considered racist. The most you can actually say, it will be xenophobic if you want to go down that route, but it would not be considered racist. For example, if I was a European person, Caucasian person, and I said I would not marry a redneck from America, and I said the reason being is because they're mentally defected, would that be considered racist if I'm European?
Yes. That's pretty racist thing to say.
it wouldn't be racist because you are of the same race. You are part of the same ethnicity. You're part of the same racial background. You can only be racist to another race. It's impossible for you to be racist to your own race. Racism, hold on. Racism is based upon you being superior. Okay, it's based upon you being superior and other races being inferior. If you are part of the same race, how can you say your same race is inferior? It's impossible.
You mute your mic, mate.
Okay, I'll respond to you by showing you. I just Googled racism. Okay, let's see what Sheikh Google has to tell us. Racism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's race is superior. Okay.
Exactly what I just said.
We have established that Ali is not even black. He does not fall under the definition of what a black person is. He was dark skinned. Yes, he wasn't black.
Who says that? Who says that?
I quoted the Sharif al-Murtada. I don't know if you saw that whole section where he says that none of his ancestors were from the descendants of Ham. Did you see that part?
Okay, there is a difference between Ham and there is a difference between blacks. Do you understand that?
Wait a second. And then he says none of them were black. And then when in the report you quoted for At-Tabari, that's weak. You haven't presented any evidence.
I could give you tons more if you really want to, but I like to stick to one topic at a time. Earlier on, I said to you, that when you read out the definition, you can only be racist to another race, a different race, based upon you being superior to them and them being inferior. Okay. So therefore, if they're part of the same race, it's impossible for them to be racist. Does that make sense to you?
Fair enough. Is Ali Zinji?
Okay, so would Ali consider himself being black, part of black race? That's the question I'm going to ask you.
The question is, when Ali describes Zinjis as being physically defective, Ali is not a Zinji.
I don't know. Again, you're talking about an ethnicity. You're not talking about a race, okay? You're not talking about an ethnicity. So I'm going to ask you the question. Would Ali consider himself being black?
Wallah, you're going to have to ask him.
Let me know. Sorry?
You're going to have to ask him. I can't speak on his behalf. I'm just telling you.
Let me do this now. Would the historical themselves being black or being of another race?
The historical reports will tell you, and this is what they'll tell you. They tell you he was an Arab from Quraysh who had dark skin.
Again, I'm going to ask you, the Arabs, did they consider themselves being of the black race or of another race?
Well, I think that question is wrong in the first place, because you're assuming that this concept of race existed back then, right?
Indeed. You're 100% right. Okay, you're 100% right. The concept of race did not exist back then, but they did consider a grouping of blacks. Okay, would he have considered himself being black, or would he have considered himself being something else? I'm talking about Arabs in general, the historical Arabs during the time of the Prophet, the Tabayin, and so forth and so forth.
Well,
what would they consider themselves?
There doesn't seem to be any evidence to indicate that they consider themselves black as a nation.
Okay, so let me do this. Okay, there is a hadith, okay, in Muslim that says that the Prophet was sent to the blacks and the reds. What complexion what category would have been the Prophet and the Arabs of the time?
Excellent question.
Blacks or reds?
Excellent question. Let me tell you this. Do you know that in the hadith describing the Prophet, they describe him as being white with a tinge of red? Do you know that?
Okay. I don't care about that. I'm asking you the question now.
No, it's
what
relevant.
Would they consider themselves? Listen. What would they consider themselves? Don't jump. You're diverting right now. What would they consider themselves?
I'm not diverting. No, you
the black race or the red race?
You missed the point, Habibi. The Prophet ﷺ is Ali's cousin, and he's from the tribe of Quraysh. And in the descriptions, the physical descriptions of him, I'm glad you brought this up. They say that he was lighter skinned with a tinge of red. So I will tell you, they were whiter. They didn't consider themselves black.
So they would consider themselves being red, right?
Well, I think you're misinterpreting the report. I don't think that's what the implications of it is, that there's only two races in the world. I don't think that's what the Prophet was trying to say.
All right, let me do this then. I'm actually going to show you the category sent to all the reds and the blacks. Okay, that is it right there. Now, if we actually go into some of the hadiths, they tell you about what they consider themselves as.
Who's they?
It says here the most prominent colors amongst the Arabs is. Hold on, the most prominent colors amongst the Arabs.
Got this from black supremacist website.
No.
Okay, if you
This
give
is
me permission, okay, I'm going to respond to this. I know all these shubahat. He parrots.
Hassan, let him answer this. Who are you quoting? Who are you quoting?
so it's clear that you don't want me to finish, right? It's clear that you don't want me to finish, right?
No.
Okay, cool. I will finish.
Kalam, continue, please.
Thank you. So now we could even go into the Lane's lexicon, yeah, and we can see what the Arabs themselves consider themselves as. They consider themselves to being part of the black race or the black numbering. They consider the non-Arabs, i.e. the Persians and everybody else, the Romans, as being of the red race. Okay, this is very, very clear. You can go through and you can find it yourself. It's all here on the screen, and it is said, it's not hidden, that the meaning of the red and the black and the so-called blacks are the Arabs. Okay, because al-sumra is in them in abundance, and the red means the non-Arabs because el-shakara is in them in abundance. Okay, I'll carry on going. Ibn Yasir al-Mufassal, page 48. The meaning of al-aswad is because the majority of Arabs are brown and jet black in color. And last one for you guys. Ibn Hadid said in Shar al-Nahaj al-Balagha, chapter 5, page 36. From the category of nicknames, the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and the reds, it is intended to mean that to the Arabs and the non-Arabs. The nickname for Arabs is black, and for the non-Arabs it's red. And Arabs call the non-Arabs red because a pale white complexion is predominant amongst them. Okay, so therefore, yet again, that means that Ali and the rest of the Arabs of the time would have considered themselves being part of the black categorization. So if they're part of the black if they're part of the black categorization, it's impossible for them to be racist. Why? Because they're all part of the same categorization. You can only be racist to somebody outside of your own race. So your terminology is flawed.
Please, can I just one?
There's quite a few points there. I'll give it to Abbas to address those, and then Hassan, you can pose your question.
No, just 1 second. Give me just 1 second, please.
It was directed towards me, by the way, but yeah.
Guys, excuse me, guys. I'm gonna bounce because I honestly can't contribute to this topic. I have like barely any knowledge on this topic. Yeah, you guys enjoy it. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. I leave it between Abul Abbas.
Okay, listen, Kalam. You cannot go and tell me, okay, some Arabs, were black, and this is, common, and then you assume from that Ali would identify as a black. That's an assumption. Okay, as I said, there were white Arabs as well. The Prophet ﷺ was actually described as being white with a tinge of red. Aisha was called al-Humayra because she had a red fair complexion. So Arabs are not monolithically black as you're pointing. You cannot make that assumption. That's point number one. Point number two, for the sake of argument, I'm not agreeing with you. I think you're absolutely wrong. That was absolute nonsense what you just said. But for the sake of argument, I'll tell you that, okay, Ali ibn Abi Talib was black. Is it not disrespectful and wrong for him to describe a whole ethnicity of people as being ugly, physically defective? This is Allah's creation. Is it not wrong for him to describe them that way?
Okay, what we'll do is we'll go to Hassan. We'll let Hassan make a point, and we'll go back to Kalam. Kalam, I guess you've got a recording. There's a few points there. Hassan, please keep it brief, mate.
Yeah, actually, very important. First of all, everybody must be aware. It's very important. Alhamdulillah, I studied the Shubhat last year. What he brings up is nothing new. These are from online websites. There's some websites, some even by Muslims could be. These are black supremacist websites. By the way, when I called him a black supremacist, if he's not a black supremacist, then I take it back. I initially mentioned Sarah and his big bro, who no doubt are, and maybe I mentioned it in the same line. If he's not one, if he's not a racist, then I take it back, no problem. But these shubuhat that he brings, these doubts, these are not new. There's a number of blogs, I'm not going to mention the names of the blogs, that try to say that Arabs were basically, Arabs were jet black people. Arabs are actually Africa, and Arabia is actually part of Africa. Arabia is actually part of Africa. They go as far as to say Lebanon is part of Africa. They go as far as that. They are very extreme in their thinking, and they have a very shallow understanding. SubhanAllah, it reminds you of the Rafida. They have no fiqh, no understanding. So SubhanAllah, you see, he brought the hadith from Sahih Muslim, right? And then when Abul Abbas, when he said you want to divert, Abu Abbas didn't want to divert. You can't pick and choose. You can't make a judgment on something, on a concept based on one single hadith. You have to look at the whole picture. This is what a researcher, searcher of the truth does. This is academical. Not to say, no, there's one hadith I found. Listen. So what did he do? He brought a hadith, isn't it? Where the Prophet ﷺ said, I will send to the black and the red skin. Who would be the Arabs categorized? Yes, in a broad description, very broadly described, the Arabs would be in the black. Yeah, this is correct. But what he doesn't understand is that these terms were very loose to an extent that in the very same Sahih Muslim or Bukhari it is, who was it? It was Ammar bin Yasir, wasn't it? Ammar bin Yasir was insulted as what? Ibn Sawda. It was Ammar bin Yasir, isn't it? Or Abu Dhar al-Ghafari. I think it was Ammar bin Yasir. So Ammar bin Yasir, in the famous hadith, was insulted as you son of a black woman. That wasn't a form of insult. Now some say it's not necessarily because of the skin color, it was because his mother was a slave. Whatever, the point is, within Arabs themselves, there was racism. Because the Prophet ﷺ then replied to the Sahabi who insulted Ammar or Abu Dhar, said to him, you still have remainings of Jahiliyyah in yourself.
Excellent
right?
point. Excellent point.
Correct? So subhanallah, here you have the Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who broadly might be categorized in the black nation, if you like, very, very loosely, very broadly, witnessing two Arabs 1,400 years ago, two Sahaba, one calling the other son of a black woman. So this is very childish, unacademical to say, look, I found the hadith in the Bukhari and the Prophet is categorizing the word in black and white. Now my question would be to this guy, where do the Chinese fit here? In the white or the black? Huh? This is a this is very broad. There's more evidences. What about Hajjatul Wada? What about the last sermon of the Prophet? Where he says there's no difference between an Arab and an Ajam, and black and white. If the Prophet is just black, why didn't say there's no difference between us blacks and you, the rest, the whites? He said Arab and Ajam, black and white, and then some narration. Huh?
Some reports have mentioned.
Before we go there, guys, I'd like to apologize to the people in the chat. Unfortunately, because we're going on so long, we're not going to be able to do the Q&A. However, I'll try and reorganize something for later this week where we can just do a Q&A, inshallah. So that's the plan.
So brothers and sisters,
Hassan, just one more thing. Another thing, guys, please don't forget to subscribe. We really appreciate all the subs and all the support we get from you guys. But the deal was to go back to Kalam now, since quite a few points have been raised. So Kalam, if you're ready, it's over to you.
Yeah, I like to stick to one point at a time. So already we have clearly seen that the Arabs themselves in classical time period refer to themselves as blacks. Okay, that's their categorizations for themselves. They never had racial categories as we have today. But if we were going to do that, they considered the blacks, i.e., let me actually quote from Ibn Jahiz yet again. Ibn Jahiz says, the blacks, the reds and the blacks, the Ethiopians, the Zinjis, and the Nubians are considered to be, and the Arabs are considered to be the blacks, and then the Romans and the Persians, and the Slavs and the Khwarezmianis were considered to be the red race. So if you're going to go by the terms of their form of racial categorization or their form of nationality categorization or ethnicity categorization, both the Zinjis, the Nubians, and the Arabs would have been considered to be blacks. So therefore, if they were making a racist comment, it is impossible for them to make a racist comment because they are of the same racial category. That's number one. I just want to make sure that's drowned into your head. So it's impossible.
No.
Now we have to move. Hold on.
You're missing the point.
Hold on.
Guys, can we skip to 1 point at a time, please? So Kalam, 1 point.
You wanted 1 point, yeah? Kalam,
Okay.
you just repeated they can't be racist. I just quoted to you from Sahih Muslim or Bukhari that Ammar bin Yasir or Abu Dhar al-Ghafari was slandered with the term, you son of a black woman. And the Prophet ﷺ witnessed that and he condemned it and said, you have jahiliyyah in yourself. Yani traits of jahiliyyah, of times of ignorance, i.e. racism. So if
That's your inference that it's to do with racism. It's
Your
your
whole argument's inference, bro.
It's an inference to
So
do
what
with
is it?
racism. Okay.
So what is it? You call someone? He called him, "You son of a black woman."
Okay.
Ibn
So
Sawda.
okay. So again, yeah, it's your inference that's racist. You actually gave. Hold on. Can I finish?
Is it not? What is it? Someone, you son of a black woman. If I call you a son of a black woman, would it be the inference from someone else that this is racism? It's always racism.
Can I
You
finish?
son of a black woman. When if somebody says this,
Yeah. Can I finish? Okay. So again, it's based upon your modern interpretation rather than what is the context within inside of the society at the time. What does it actually mean? And quite clearly, you realize that there's ikhtilaf. There is actually differences. It could literally mean
that Arabs are black and can't be racist to other black people. So why do they use a racial term, son of a black woman?
You realize you're not allowed. You realize you're not allowing me to finish. This is like classic speaker's corner. When somebody doesn't want you to get the point across, they continue to talk over and over and over you. All right, give me the respect as I give you the respect. So again, yeah, the second opinion or the second interpretation of this is to say that he was a son of a slave. It had nothing to do with actual color or race or anything like that. It's just to point out that you're a son of a slave in terms of hierarchy. Okay, in the context of the society, there is different levels, okay, of you being a Maula or you being an Walid and so forth and so forth. There is a different categorization. So it was pointing out to the fact that you are of a lesser status than me rather than it being a racial categorization.
Okay, let me say this. Hassan, can you let me ask him a question? Because I think my question is really important and it wasn't addressed. Please, if you don't mind.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, Kalam, let me be honest with you. I think everything you said in the last 5 minutes is absolute nonsense. But for the sake of argument, I'll grant it to you that they were black, even though I believe that's absolute nonsense. I think it's a very shallow reading of text. But nevertheless, I'll grant that to you for the sake of argument. Okay, do you not think it's wrong when Ali ibn Abi Talib approaches a religious congregation which consists of blacks, Arabs, Kurds, Indians, and he's telling them, you guys, as a religious community, these people, this ethnicity, the Zinjis, don't marry from them. They are physically distorted. Is that not a disrespectful thing to say? Is that not wrong? Tell me.
Okay, so again, you have to go back into the context of what is he saying it? Why is he saying it? What is he saying? What is he talking about? Okay, let's just say that the hadith is actually sahih. It is correct, and I'm gonna say that it is correct. What is it talking about? He's not actually trying to be racist. Okay, number one, the reason why he's not trying to be racist because he's part of the same racial grouping. Full stop. He married. Hold on. He married a Sindhi woman. Okay, which is another black.
So that's not Oh, that's good. You mentioned that.
Okay.
You actually made a mistake in your channel. Sindhi is not black. Sindhi is in India.
Okay, so is there not black Sinds? African. I'm going to say African.
Black.
I'm going to ask you a question. Is there not African Sinds?
I'm telling you, Indian Sindhis don't fall into the category of blacks.
But I'm asking you the question: are they African Sinds? We can literally type in now African Sinds in Pakistan, and you'll find them there.
Okay, I'm talking about something that happened 1,400 years ago.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you again: are Sinds African? Are Sinds categorized as being blacks? Yes or no?
I'm telling you, the Sindhis in that report are not categorized as blacks. No.
Okay, they're not categorized as being blacks. Let me actually
in that report.
Give me a hot second. Yeah, I'm going to go and get Sirat literature to show you that they were considered to be blacks.
I want you to answer my question. We're going back and forth in a bunch of semantics. I'm getting fed up with this. I want you to address the whole point I said.
I'm trying to address it, but you cut me off.
Wait a second.
Cut me off. That's what happened.
Well, you're not answering the question. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to.
I was answering the question, but it's not answering in the way that you want the question to be answered.
No, that's not true.
I'm giving a context.
I'm telling you the context of the report is that the chapters under the heading, those from whom marriage is discouraged, such as the blacks, the Kurds, and others. Put an underline under others. So there's a bunch of races where marriage is discouraged from marrying. And you have a general text from Ali ibn Abi Talib saying this. Is it not wrong to single out an ethnicity and to tell your followers that they're physically distorted? Tell me.
The Kurds are blacks now as well, probably.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, would you like me to continue?
Please answer the question.
All right. So as I was saying again, yeah, it has nothing to do with racism. Simply because, okay, he's married into blacks. Okay, he himself would be considered a black. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with racism, as in black against black people. It's talking about a particular ethnicity, a particular grouping of people that was around the time that he said, okay, were mentally let's utilize mentally deformed or had bad intellect. Basically, that's what his words. They were people who are bad intellect.
Where's your evidence for mentally? It says khalqun mushawwa. We are Arabic speakers. Khalqun entitles everything, mentally, physically, everything. Where's your evidence that it's only mentally? It says in Arabic khalqun mushawwa. Khalq means the entire creation of something. So where's your evidence that it's only mentally?
There you go, right here. This is actually a screenshot from the Lane's lexicon itself, and as you can see right here is the word, and then it says also it can mean a bad in intellect.
Read the first definition, sweet. Read the first definition.
This is mushawwa.
Read the first definition. Hassan, listen. Wait, he has a definition. Read the first definition.
I'll read the first definition. It says here, rendered foul. So that's one meaning. It can mean that they're foul, rendered foul. Hold on. Can I continue? It has a second meaning. It could be unseemly. It has a third meaning. It could be ugly. It has a fourth meaning, in face by God. So sorry, rendered foul, unseemly, or ugly in face by God. Okay, or foul in shape. Okay, then it has other meanings as well, which can mean here bad in intellect.
No, it says and bad in intellect. And bad is in addition to the.
Wait a second, Hassan. Majlisi says it means that they're ugly. Majlisi says that in Mirat al-Uqul, and I showed it in my video if you want to go back. But nevertheless, your argument.
You shouldn't let go, brother Abul Abbas. You shouldn't let go of that argument. Who do we look? This our friend Kalam is friends with these Rawafid. Who shall we take the understanding from Khalqun Mushawwa? From Majlisi, the Persian racist, bloodthirsty 16th century Safavid scholar who said that they mean ugly, or from Kalam? Which one is right?
I think Majlisi is more of an authority, definitely. But nevertheless, I think your argument, Kalam, crumbles. You've been evading this, by the way. When we talk about the Kurds, Ali was not Kurdish. He was not married into the Kurds.
I'm not going into the Kurd statement because I haven't. This the reason being I didn't address it in my video, and I haven't researched it to know anything about it. I only speak upon things. Hold on, stop. I only speak upon things that I do know. Okay, so the rest of it was not interesting to me because it wasn't directed towards me in that sense. The comments and the video that you made was in reference to black people, and that was the interest towards me myself. And of course, it being attributed, or you're attributing racism to the family of the Prophet. So therefore, I was addressing those types of comments.
Okay, you just said you haven't comprehensively researched the whole topic. There's a context I'm coming from. The chapter heading mentions blacks, Kurds, and other races. There's a context, and you only researched the part about blacks. I'm sorry, sir, but your research isn't thorough. You have to address this. You cannot ignore the part about the Kurds.
My research is thorough because I didn't address the Kurds, and I didn't address the others in my video. The only thing that I addressed was the blacks. So therefore, my research was thorough. Okay, you're bringing up now. Hold on. You're bringing up the Kurds and so forth. That is not what I refuted from you guys. Fair enough. If I refuted you guys on the Kurds and so forth, you could bring that up to me right now. But that's not what my focus was. I refuted you guys. Hold on. First of all, I refuted you guys on your shoddy or false interpretation of the text by saying it's blacks when it clearly says Zinj. You pulled up various different texts here that clearly says Al Zinj. You pulled up further texts to even show you that they was talking about Nubians, you can marry Nubians and so forth, to let you know that there clearly is a distinction between blacks in general and Zinj and Nubians and so forth. But you lot still haven't even popped your hand to say yes, we made a mistake. Okay, you're just literally stop. Can I finish? You guys are skirting. Hold on. You guys are skirting around the topic. Okay, so that's the first thing that I actually pulled you guys up on, and you guys have still haven't said yes, I was wrong. You lot have said yes, it does mean an ethnicity or a particular nation, in Africa, which is 100% correct. But yet you're still trying to say it also means blacks in general. No, it doesn't mean blacks in general. Okay. Secondly, I also brought up the point here where you're trying to attribute racism, okay, to the Prophet's family. But I'm saying it's impossible when they themselves would have been considered part of the same racial group.
No, you have to interrupt you. No, 1 second. Did you just say that we attribute racism to the family of the Prophet? Did you just say that?
No, you did attribute racism in the sense that you're trying to say that, listen to what I'm saying. You're trying to say that the Shias attributed racism towards Ali and Jafar as-Sadiq. Okay. Hold on. But at the same time, you haven't even proved how the Shias attributed racism to them. You just simply hold on. Let me finish. You lot simply read out a hadith which is actually sahih. You read out a hadith that's sahih.
Step by step. 1 second. Kalam, my dear friend. That's not what you just said. You just said, and in the initial video I watched it, you accused us and said, how dare they? They accused the family of the Prophet of racism, whereas from a theological point and academical point of view, you're not that stupid and dumb. Please don't act like certain people. You know very well that our intention and the whole purpose of the video was to say that Shiism and its holy text in the most authentic book, according to us, and what we have presented, attributes racism to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, peace be upon them. Not that we say, because you made this is a huge accusation, and if you're a man, you got to take it back, because we do not attribute racism to the Ahlul Bayt. We believe that there's
that is something that you said in your video.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Can I respond to that? So now, if you're being academic, okay, and you're saying that Shiism or the Shias attribute racist content to the Imams, could you point out which Shia attributed racist content to the Imams? Because you did not do that. That is not academic.
You have missed it, but I'll do it one more time for you. First of all, many Shias are good people. Many Shias, they don't even know about this kufriyat and shirkat and racism in the book. We are talking about the most authentic Shia book of hadith, plus the understanding of the scholars. Kalam's understanding is irrelevant of Mushawwah or whatever, because we quote Majlisi, who is Khatamul Muhaddithin. He has the title of the seal of the Muhaddithin, hadithists of Shiism, my dear Kalam. And this Mr. Majlisi, understand, he and others that Brother Abul Abbas earlier quoted, say that this means, Khalqu Mushawwa means a ugly, deformed, and so on people. Nothing to do with mentally. So your whole basis, your whole main argument about that being only one people, and plus it was only regards to their mentality or something. This is wrong. Shia scholars refute you. But obviously you don't know Arabic. You can't go to these sources, so you don't know that. And as for Zinj, there is no ethnicity in the world till today that is Zinj. Zinj is an island, Zanzibar is a semi-autonomous island, and the people are pretty much mixed there today now. In the past, Zanzibar was mainly used for Bantu people because the population is Bantu there. That's a historical fact. And the Somali people used to enslave Bantus, so did the Persians, so did the Arabs. This is another historical fact. So yes, whereas Zinj originally refers to a certain area, not a people, because don't embarrass yourself. There is not an ethnicity called the Zanji ethnicity, according to scientific facts. Maybe according to a historian, he refers to them as that. Originally, a people, a region were considered as the Zanj. They were majority Bantu people, and then later
we got to try and keep things precise.
Later, everybody was considered as Zanj. Proven in the hadith I quoted in the same that the only exception the Shia racist narrations do, the only exception is Nubians. So that are you
Hassan, wait, we need to move on, Hassan. There's some points that need to be made.
Put it this way, we're going to have to wrap up very, very shortly. The crux of the argument comes down to the word Zinj. And I would like, for the sake of the audience, for Kalam to give his interpretation or his translation of this word. Kalam, could you please do that? And please be as precise as possible.
Definitely, I will do. And I'll do one better because everybody knows me. I don't speak from my own mouth. I speak from sources. So I'll give you, not from my own mouth, okay? I'll actually give you from the Lane's lexicon right now. So this is the Lane's lexicon right here, okay? Lane's lexicon, page 1262, okay? Lane's lexicon under the term Zinj right here. It says, it says here, the latter being a dao, both of them just. Okay, here it goes. A certain nation of the blacks. A certain nation of the blacks.
That's correct. Nobody disagrees with that. That's what they initially were. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I'll continue. I'll go on a little bit lower because this right now is parenthesis. Okay, just so you can get some background information.
We don't disagree with.
But this is not in the original. Hold on.
Just so our audience can see. If you could just make it a bit bigger.
Yeah.
So if it's possible. You're understanding Lane, by the way. That doesn't mean that it's not in the original text. He's quoting a dictionary when he does that, an Arab dictionary.
All right. Let's just quickly carry on. It says here, their country is beneath and to the south of the equinoctial line, and beyond them is no habitation or cultivation. And then look, this here is brackets yet again, parenthesis. If you don't know what parenthesis means, I may just have to quickly Google parenthesis for you.
I don't think that's necessary, Kalam. I think
his point was made. His point was made.
Guys, we're going to be wrapping up really shortly. What I think would be a good idea is if we can give the three people currently in the discussion 2 minutes each to wrap up a closing statement, and then we'll wrap up, inshallah. So I'll start with Abbas, then we'll go to Kalam, and then Hassan can have the final word.
Can I finish reading off the definition of Zinj?
Yeah.
Your point was
we don't need a definition for parenthesis.
All right. So it says here, some say that their country extends from the western parts of Africa nearly to Abyssinia, and then it carries on, and that part of it is on the Nile of Egypt, and that is literally it. So that is the definition of Zinj. Right there.
Okay, now I can respond.
So Abbas, you've got
He's ignoring the part I quoted earlier in the video, which says that it can apply to all blacks. But nevertheless, as I told you earlier, Kalam, and you kept on ignoring this. I don't care. I'll grant it to you for the sake of argument. Again, I said you're coming severely out of context of the chapter that Kulaini and Al-Majlisi, where they called it Sudan, included under the chapter of Sudan, referring to all blacks. Nevertheless, for the sake of argument, it would not make it any better if Ali is singling out a single ethnicity of people for being physically distorted. I don't care, really. It's still bad. It's still disrespectful to Ahlul Bayt. And to him to call Kurds out, yes, your whole research is out of context. Why? Because it's all one chapter. The Kurds, the blacks, and the other races. And so you cannot single out the blacks and say, well, because Ali married from the blacks, that means it's not racist. But Ali didn't marry from the Kurds, and he said similar things about them. So I think your argument shatters when everything is taken into context. Hence why I said you haven't done thorough research. You've done thorough research only on a specific aspect of this whole debate. And that's not enough for you to negate racism from Ali ibn Abi Talib, with your claims. I think our points still stand. If you haven't seen any of our quotes, go back, all the viewers, refer to my earlier, the earlier part of the video, where I quote the Shia scholars. You'll see how the Shia jurists understood it. They applied it to all of Sudan. I quoted more than 3 jurists. And I think we made a pretty good case. And I think that sums it up. And it's pretty obvious. We're not trying to insult Ahlul Bayt. We're negating this trash from them. We're telling you this whole literature is falsely attributed to them, like the rest of Shiaism. That's where we're coming from.
Kalam, unless Hassan comes back, you've got the closing statement. You've got 2 minutes.
Okay. So again, I'm just gonna share my screen and do this. Earlier on you did pull something up, and it says here again in parentheses, sometimes applied to the Negroes, absolutely. Okay, and this again is something which is a later addition. Why do I say it's a later addition? Because a word or phrase inserted as an explanation or afterthought into a passage which is grammatically complete without it. That is what a parenthesis is. That is what the two brackets around it is. So you're actually going from a later interpretation rather than from what the classicals actually had to say. Okay, Zinj is just one ethnicity or one ethnic group. If you want to say that the rest with the Kurds, which is something I never touched on full stop, if the Kurds aren't black and they're of another complexion and so forth, you could possibly argue for a racist context, but it's impossible for you to argue for a racist context because blacks, or you cannot be racist as we've read out the definition for racism. I fear that some people don't understand the definition of racism. You could only be racist to other races based upon your superiority and their inferiority. And we have established that the Arabs themselves consider themselves in their categorization, in their time frame, as being blacks. So it's impossible for them to be racist to blacks. They could be racist to reds or anybody else outside of their racial categorization from their social context. And that's my
okay. I just want to clarify something.
Thank you very much. Hassan's back. But Abbas,
I just want to say something.
Quick one.
Part. It said as an afterthought or an explanation. So it's not necessarily something that's added later. It could be the author's explanation. You didn't focus on that. Read the definition again, and I'll end it with that. And Hassan, I'll give it to you.
Barakallah fi. Hassan, if you're there, you've got 2 minutes. You there, Hassan?
He says he only speaks with evidence and whatnot. He made a ridiculous statement. I disproved them with the hadith in Sahih Muslim. Yes, there's different interpretations. Nonetheless, the Arabs used to distinguish. The Arabs did have a form of racism amongst each other. This is a fact. And he says you can't be racist if you're from a same broad race. This is incorrect. And we have it in a, subhanAllah, we have this phenomenon in modern day. We have racism among blacks. I've met many people. I've watched documentaries about racism, for example, in East Africa. For example, let me show you an example. Let me give you an example of African racism. Haile Selassie, the last emperor of Ethiopia, was invited in the 60s or 70s, I think, to a conference about the unity of the Negro race. It's not my term, what they used back then, yeah? He rejected the offer based on, guess on what terms? He said, and this is famous, he said that we are not Negroes in the first place. We are Semites. And this is because Ethiopians claim to be descendants of Suleiman alayhi salam. They have extremely close historical, ethnic, historical, and linguistical even ties to Yemen, because Suleiman alayhi salam, the queen of Sheba, and so on. So you have, even in modern day, even in the 20th and the 21st century, racism between blacks. I've seen racism from some racist Jamaicans against Somalians. I've seen Somali racism against Jamaicans, and the other way around, and all sorts of racism. So it is a wrong statement to say you can't be racist if you are from a particular group. You can be only racist if you're racist against a completely other group. This is a broad definition of racism that he Googles from Google, that he gets from Google or from whatnot, because it is also a scientific fact that among a group there could be racism. So, and I gave you examples. And you have it. And African people, I have a lot of African friends, they admit to that, and they know that. They know that how many lighter skin, for example, African people from a lighter skin nation are racist against those from a darker skin nations, those Africans with Caucasian features. I mean, I've watched documentaries in Arabic about Ethiopia that they, till today, in parts of Ethiopian culture, they refuse to marry anybody who is of Bantu descent. Now, that's racism. They don't care if you go and tell them, but do you know, I'm Kalam. I googled racism, and broadly speaking, you are black, and the Bantu is black, so you can't be racist. This is not the waqia. This is not the reality in what we live in. The reality is there's racism.
Hassan, you got 30 seconds.
I would say we mentioned it clearly. I advise people to watch the beginning of the video, the racist commentary, very important. The Kalam didn't, of course, he can't, because then he already digged himself the grave, jumped into it, and then he would bury himself. Watch the beginning where Abul Abbas mentioned numerous quotes about the racist comment of the Shia scholarship. That's important. Not what Raza says, not what Hassan Shemrani says, not what let alone what Kalam says. Look at what racist comments. Their scholars understand the narrations better than Kalam or me or anybody else. And this is what Abul Abbas provided you with. And this is the tip of the iceberg, I would say.
Guys, I'm gonna have to wrap up.
Before-
Jazakallah khairan to the
before-
Sunni Defense team. Kalam, mate.
Before you do that, I just want to say one thing. I just want to say one thing. Yeah, one thing. One thing. No. It's in praise. It's in praise of you guys.
To come out next. You're more than welcome to come on next time. Maybe we can organize something just so it's a bit more structured. Guys, Jazakallah khair to our Sunni Defense members. Kalam, may Allah guide you to the straight path. Guys in the live chat, I apologize again for not being able to go over your questions. Maybe next time, inshallah. Please don't forget to subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.